She went from flight attendant to best-selling author, and while her thrillers about the skies are fictional, I have to believe some real-life passengers influenced her writing. So to tell us more, please welcome author TJ Newman.
Yes.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Hey, thank you for joining us. All right, let's jump right in because you did a lot of writing while working as a flight attendant. What specifically would you write about while working on a plane with that book over your shoulder? I'm kind of guessing right now. Worst case scenario? That's not what I want in my flight attendant.
It's true. My first book was called Falling, and I wrote that one by hand in the forward galley on red-eye flights while my passengers would sleep. And you asked me if I write about my passengers, and in a way I do, because not specific passengers, but my books are about ordinary people being thrust into extraordinary circumstances and how they rise to meet that moment. Because I would fly and I would look out at the passengers and think, what if something goes wrong? What's going to happen? Who's going to be the hero? Who's going to be the coward? Who's going to be the comic relief? And they inspired me to think of these worst case scenarios, these action thrillers, which are the stories that I write, but put everyday people like you and me in them.
Would you be willing to punch me in the face if something happened? Because I just want to be knocked out.
I'll do it. All right. I'll knock you out.
I love that you were literally writing the pages of your next chapter during your current chapter as a flight attendant. That is so inspirational. Well, your newest novel is called Worst Case Scenario, and it's about a plane that crashes into a nuclear power plant after the pilot has a heart attack.
Oh, God.
So how did you get this idea?
When I was doing research for my first book, I talked to pilots and I asked them questions all the time. And the question that I always asked was, what's your biggest fear? As a pilot, emotionally, what's your biggest fear? And one day a pilot looked at me and he looked me dead in the eye and he said, my biggest fear is a commercial airliner crashing into a nuclear power plant. Ooh. And I thought he was kidding because, I mean, come on. As I told him, I said, you know, they've proved that the facilities are fortified. This is something, we live in a post 9/11 world. Like, this is not a rational fear. And he's listening to me explain this. And when I finish, he looks at me and says, and that's exactly what they want you to think.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. And so when I went to write my third book, I went back to that idea and I started researching to see, like, is there any validity to this fear? And I have to tell you, I was terrified by the research.
Okay.
The premise of this book is completely plausible, and it's terrifying.
Okay, great. My biggest fear was that my luggage was going to get lost for a long time. Now I'm thinking about power plants. Okay. What was the biggest real life scare you had while working as a flight attendant?
You know, you'd mentioned the passengers. I write action thrillers, not horrors. So, you know, I will leave that genre to somebody else, because I tell you what, every day it was some new drama, some new chaos happening on the plane with a passenger. But you know, my brain is just designed to think in sort of big blockbuster action terms. So really every day I would just sit and look out at the passengers and daydream up worst case scenarios and think what would happen.
Speaking of blockbusters, you only have about 30 seconds left, but your books are going to become movies soon. We hear there's a bidding war between people like Nicole Kidman and Steven Spielberg. Mazel tov for the rights. How do you feel about that?
It blows my mind. It's absolutely surreal. I can't believe, you know, that my first two books, Falling and Drowning, are going to be made into movies with Universal Pictures and with Warner Brothers. My second book, Drowning, Academy Award nominee Paul Greengrass is directing.
Wow.
Steve Kloves, the Harry Potter screenwriter, is adapting the book. I'm living my dream come true, and today's publication day of my third book, and I can't believe this is my life.
Happy Pub Day! Happy Pub Day!
TJ, congratulations. That is incredible. DBL Nation, pick up TJ's newest thriller, Worst Case Scenario, available now. Thank you again. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Don't pick it up if you're going to the airport.
Yeah.